Nice. Okay, so now let's talk about LOD. That is the level of detail of our model. As the night, it optimizes our model. It increases the amount of polygons or decreased based on the distance that I am from the model. Do you remember that? Look, the night cluster. Uh, the closer I am, more clusters. Okay, if I'm more distance, less clusters. The LOD uses the same principle. It optimizes the geometry of my model with a difference. Basically, it doesn't base on clusters to optimize our model. It bases on the polygon count of my model. For example, let's select here. For example, let's access this model. Look, I think there's a lot here that were added. So let's decrease this and let's remove the LODs, okay? So that we can make it together. Okay. I'm gonna go here, node, one here, and we're gonna do this process. Hold on. Okay, let me see the original value here. Let's see. I'm gonna put 100. Okay, we're gonna talk about it. Don't worry about it. Cool. So I just removed the LOD. Let's suppose you brought your model, your object. Oh, I forgot to tell you in the last class about LOD, is that besides enable or disable the LOD, here in the details, you can enable or disable the LOD when you are going to import your model, okay? Let's suppose we're going to import this frame, let's say. So we open it. Here, when you're going to import, you can click here, build nanite, and it's going to transform our frame in nanite. Okay, look, it has brought here the frame. It was already transformed into nanite. You see this? So if I take this frame, for example, and put in the scene, cluster, it is already nanite. You see this? Because we transform it into nanite when we were importing the model. Okay, I'm gonna import a couch here, right button, import. Let's suppose this is a couch. Let's say open it. I can enable or disable nanite. Okay, it's up to you if you want to bring the object with the nanite or not, or transform it into nanite here inside Unreal. Okay, you say when I use one or another. Well, if you have a GPU or more basic, you can bring this object as the nanite. Okay, because if you have a lot of objects in the scene, maybe you're gonna lose a lot of FPS before transforming to nanite. Okay, in case you don't have a lot of objects or you're gonna build your scene inside Unreal Engine, you can do it after. Okay, you're gonna realize that. Okay, if it makes sense to import before or inside Unreal. Okay, basically, if the project is really heavy with a lot of furnitures and everything, and the project is already done and you're importing with that is made, for example, we're gonna talk about it after. You import with the nanite. Okay, if you have a project that you're bringing the FBX all done and you have a lot of furnitures and you're not gonna build the scene inside Unreal, so there will be a lot of furnitures, transform into nanite. Okay, in the importation. Okay, but if there are a lot of objects in the scene at the same time, you can transform into nanite during that process. Okay, you can choose both. All right, let me see it here. Okay, let's delete this. Okay, let's get back to LOD. Let's see, what is LOD? Well, the LOD, well, as the night, as I get farther, I get closer, it increases or decreases the polygon count. Okay, increasing or decreasing the quality. Let's double click on it, on the little bird. Okay, here I have some information. For example, the triangles, the vertices, the UV channels, okay, the current screen size, so, and the LOD, okay, how many LODs I have and in which LOD I am. Let's get closer here to our model and see wireframe. Look, here I can see the triangulation of the bird. Look, if you go here in the details, besides being able to change the material associated to the board, we can enable or disable the night. We also can enable or disable the LOD. For example, let's see it here. LOD settings. Okay, look, we have a group here, LOD group, that we can choose all of these here, deco, foliage, high detail, and all these options here. So we have these parameters, okay, that are going to adjust our object, okay, the LOD of our object based on the theme that we choose. And what is the LOD? Well, creating LOD, adjusting the amount of polygons based on the size and the distance. Let's choose, for example, this one, okay? That is one that I recommend, all right? Look, that's gonna leave this message here. Changing LOD group, we will override the current settings with the default. Okay, we're gonna go, keep going. Okay, it's creating the LOD of our model. You can see that it has decreased the polygon count here. Okay, let's remove the LOD. Look, 1 and apply it. Look, the amount of polygons, the triangles, we have like almost 11,000. Let's put it again. Okay, we transformed our model. Look, now we have 1,364 triangles. Okay, but it's not adjusting based on distance of the object. Well, down here, we can use this option here, auto compute LOD distances or not. Look, we have these options. So let's compute manually. So I'm gonna uncheck that option and look, LOD picker on the custom. Let's enable here. So it's gonna tell that I have the LOD 0, 1, 2, and 3. Well, in the 0, let's see what we have. Reduction settings. Look, let's see. We have here some parameters. Okay, the percentage, percent triangles, and the screen size. Let's see the LOD1. We have in reduction settings the percent triangles, okay, and the size. In the LOD2, we also have the percent triangles and the size, and the 3 is the same thing, okay, same thing, percent triangles and screen size. You can notice that it decreases the percent triangles. So LOD in the 0, LOD 0, that is the one that we are here, 0, it's considering that the percent triangles is 100. When it gets the LOD1, it's gonna consider that the percent triangles is gonna be 50. It's gonna be the half of the original one, okay? If you have like 10,000, the half is gonna be 5,000, okay? So let's take a look. If we see the LOD1, look, 5,000. It means that this distance from the object, it transforms the polygon count to the half, all right, of the original value. That was 10,000. The half, like 50%, is 5,000. Okay. Let's move away a little bit to see the LOD 2. It means that it's using like almost like 25% of the amount of the original. That was like 10,000. Okay. So as we can see, the value here. Let's move away a little more. LOD 3. It's saying that it is using 12.5% of the original one. Okay, the amount of the polygons. Okay, that was like 10,000. All right. So as we can see, the amount of triangles here, and it adjusts based on the distance that I am from my object. Okay. Look, I can change it. So if I think, oh, it's too close to, or too far, I can adjust this. Okay. We can go in screen size, and we're gonna say that when I get to this distance here from the little bird, the current screen size, this distance, I'm gonna put it here in 0.41. I want that it gets 50%. Okay, it means that when I am with the LOD 1, I want 100% of the triangle. Okay, percent triangles. When I get the distance of 0.41, look, I want to go to the LOD 1. When I get to the distance, for example, of like 0.22, I want that it gets the LOD 2. Okay, let's move away a little more. When we get the distance of like 0.11, I want this to get the LOD 3. When I get, let's see if we have more LODs. No, it's done. Okay, it's over. So let's recap this. I'm gonna say it again so that you can understand this better. So from the 0.41, it's gonna get the LOD 0. Okay, look, like this. Look, it's changing here, as you can see, 0, 1, 0, 1. Okay, so when my object gets like an error of 0.41 inside my screen, that's gonna decrease the polygon count to 50%. Okay, so for example, when I see the object like this, 0.41, that's gonna decrease the polygon count, the amount of polygons. Okay, because I don't need a lot of details when I get to this distance. Okay, when I get even more distance like this, when I move away, like close to 0.22, it's gonna decrease to 25%. Okay, look, it's changing. Look, so the amount of polygons is going to decrease. Okay, when I get the distance where it gets 0.11 of space in my screen, it's gonna decrease, it's gonna reduce even more. Okay, as you can see, look, so let's decrease more. For example, when it's in 0.41, it's gonna be like 10%, okay, a polygon. When it's 0.22, we want 7%. When it gets 0.22, no, 0.11, we just want 1% of polygon. Okay. Okay, it's applying. Look at this. Look. You see this? As I move away or I get closer, it's gonna decrease or increase the polygon count. I'm close to the object, I'm gonna film or do something like that close to the object. So I have a lot of polygon count. I'm moving away, the polygon count is gonna be decreasing, okay? This way, you optimize your project, okay? Let's suppose you have a project here in the scene where you want to optimize the objects with LOD. You're going to access your model, for example, the couch. We're going to remove the niche. Oh, and I don't want to optimize with nanite, okay? I want to optimize with LOD. So you choose a group, okay? Because it already creates the LODs for you in an automatic way, okay? So the polygon count, the distance, but you also can adjust the amount of LODs manually here, okay? But in case you don't want to create, one that was predefined, well, you're gonna adjust manually the distance, the polygon count for example 5 LODs if you want, or if you just want 2, you're gonna type the distance and the polygon count manually for the 2 LODs. Okay, I select here and it creates for us by default where it's gonna calculate the distance of the object and also the polygon count for this object, okay, based on the size of the object and the distance that it is, okay. In the beginning it looks kind of confusing, but as you're doing this, it's gonna be easier for you, okay. Don't worry about it, just keep going, okay. So let's wait this process. Okay, it has processed the LOD. So look at this. Based on the distance, it changes the LOD. Look at this, 1, 2, and 3. As you can see, look, okay. So let's see it in triangles. Look at this. You see? We can adjust, yeah. Let's uncheck the distance here. Let's adjust manually. Look, custom here. Do you remember that? LOD 0, 1, 2, and 3. Well, in this distance here, 0.8, I want 100%. Okay, let's move away a little bit. In 0.64, the LOD 1, 0.64. The screen size, I want 50. No, 30%. Okay. After we're gonna apply it, don't worry about it. Okay. Let's move away a little more. In 0.45, I want 15%. Okay. Now let's move away a little bit. In 0.35, I don't want 12%. I want 5% of triangles, okay? Let's apply it. Okay, let's wait to process. As this model is heavier, it's gonna take a longer time, okay? All right. Meanwhile, I'm gonna open for us here in Key House. And I'm gonna show you that inside another project, the LODs happening in a lot of objects at the same time, okay. Okay, it's processing here. Okay, nice, it has already processed and it's opening the other project. Look, let's get closer and move away. As you can see, 400,000 and 120,000. Let's get 60,000. You can see the amount of triangles here. Okay, let's put it here. Look, you don't even notice when you're distance that it is with a less amount of a polygon. You don't even notice that. Look, so it is a really good way, a really good feature so that you can save polygons, okay, as you get far from the object, okay. And it gets back when you get closer, the polygon count, the amount of polygons, okay? And it does in an automatically way, okay? You just have to adjust here, okay? The amount of polygons that you want for each LOD and the distance that it's gonna take to change, okay? For example, in this case of the LOD 0, it's gonna change in 1. In the LOD 1, it's gonna change when it gets in 64. Okay, look at this. Look at this. It changed. Okay. In LOD 2, in 45. Look at this. 45. It has changed. Okay. In the LOD 3, look. 35. It has changed. Okay, this way you can adjust the quality that you want, okay, based on the distance that you are from your model, okay? It's very similar to the nanite, but there's a basic difference that we're gonna talk soon, okay? It has opened our project of key house. Okay, let's see. Okay, nice. So let's close it here. So it was done LOD on the couch, okay, and also on the penguin, okay. If we move away, we can notice, for example, there's a moment where you cannot even see the feet, okay. The last LOD that we reduced to 1%. For example, wireframe, we can see, look, in this scene, we have already objects with LOD. For example, look, the gravels here, you can notice this. As I get far, as I move away, it's decreasing the polygon count. As I get closer, it is increasing, okay. Do you remember that we migrate these gravels from the project of key house to the project of piano house? Do you remember that? For example, here in key house, everything was made with LOD, because in Unreal Engine 4 doesn't support nanite, okay? Nanite is just on the Unreal Engine 5, okay? So in Unreal Engine 4, they were done by LOD. If I put here wireframe, we can see the polygons, okay, increasing and decreasing. Look at this. You see this? Look. Here you can see a little difference. So they are the LODs that are happening. So you ask me, Dennis, but all the models of this scene, do they have LOD like happening? Yes, all the models, they have it, okay? It was made LOD for all the models, okay? Because the only way of a big project to be done, to be introduced in real time, is like being very optimized, okay? For example, here in the grass wireframe, let's see, there is LOD on the grass as well, as you can see, as you can notice. Look at this. If I get closer, increase the polygon count, okay? In the trees, same thing, okay? As you can look at this, it's decreasing the polygon count, and it's increasing now when I get while I'm getting closer. This way, we can get better FPS, okay, without sacrificing the visual quality, okay. That way we can optimize our scene, okay. It's really important, okay. Cool. So here in piano house, it is already with models with LOD, okay, because they were migrated from the key house, okay. So by seeing that, we can understand that in the process of migrate, it migrates all that is associated with details of the object, okay. Everything that is related with this object is gonna go with this on the process of migration. Okay, the materials, the textures, the LODs. Okay, look at this. The LODs happening. Look, I'm gonna increase here the camera, the speed. Okay, look, 1, 2, and 3. LOD. You see this? Look, it's decreasing the quality. Now it's increasing as I get closer. Nice, right? Okay, so that shows us that if I have a project, for example, this piano house, when we finish the course, uh, it's gonna have optimizations with LODs, like also nanite optimizations on the textures, materials that are gonna be applied, textures on the materials. Okay, so if we migrate, for example, this armchair to another project, in the other project, we won't need to reconfigure the nanite, the LOD, the texture. You know, we will not have to do that because it was already done. Okay, so when I migrate from one project to another project, everything is going to go with the model. Okay, everything that is associated with the model is going together. Okay, so you don't need to do this process of optimization all the times for the same model. Okay, so if you migrate to another model, it also goes with the model. Important thing, you cannot use nanite and LOD together, and we identified that nanite has a limitation of not having deformity in the mesh. Okay, and not, for example, opacity map. Okay, for example, when we work with vegetation, look at this. Here in the key house, we have vegetation. All right, for example, grass and these things here. So what does it mean? Well, it means that I cannot use nanite, okay, on the vegetations. Why not? Well, if I open the material here of the vegetation, I see that besides the texture, we have uh, a opacity texture, okay, where what is black is transparent and what is white is opaque, okay. So the night doesn't give support for materials, okay, of the type translucent and of the type that it uses opacity maps. So you cannot use nanite, for example, for vegetation. Besides, you can notice that the vegetation can moves with the wind. Then uh, it is giving a little deformity on the mesh. So nanite doesn't give support for this. Then for optimization, for example, of vegetation, you have to use LOD. Okay. Oh, I got it, Dennis. So if I have furnitures or objects that are not transparent, that doesn't have opacity maps, I can use the night. Okay, and they are not going to move. That are not. I'm not gonna have deformity in the mesh. So and also that doesn't have an animation of deformity, so I can use the night. And when I talk about vegetation, I can use LOD. Yes, exactly. When you work with vegetation, you can use LOD, okay? Because as you move away and as you get closer, it's gonna increase or decrease the polygon count. When you work with furniture with a high polygon count, you can work with nanite, okay? So our piano house will have objects that we're gonna optimize with nanite, okay? There are gonna be these furnitures that we have here, and also with vegetation here that we're going to use, that we're gonna optimize with LOD, okay? So here we're talking about LOD, but let's see here the gravels. Let's transform it into nanites because there is no deformity in the mesh and there is no opacity map. So we can remove the LOD that we learned, okay, in this class. It's like, let's put known here. Look, it was typed 6. Okay, 6 times it changed the LOD. It was very optimized. Okay, so let's leave it in 1. Apply it. Okay, we removed the LOD. Okay, the 6 LODs. Let's leave it 100%. I want a very detailed rock, you know, these gravels here. So we can leave it like the night because there will be no deformity in the mesh and we will not use opacity map. Okay, so we can transform into the night. Let's enable the night because I took the LOD off and apply it. 53,000 and now it's 20,000. It didn't really get better, like, yeah, but it's okay. Yeah, lit, nanite, cluster. Look at this, these ones here. As you can see, there are some that we didn't do. Let's see. This one was done and the other one wasn't. Let's see. We can remove the LOD here. This other one here because this is another object. Okay, let's remove the LOD for known. Let's leave in 1 here. I don't want more than 1 LOD. It's gonna respect just 1, that is the first one. Cool. And let's get back here 100% in the LOD 0 and apply it. Perfect. Yeah, that's cool. Let's enable nanite and apply it. 26,000 there. Okay, all of them have LOD. Oh, oops, actually nanite. So I move away. That decreases the quality, and when I get closer, it increases the quality, the clusters. Okay. You see that in the visualization of the night, I don't see the LODs. I don't see the bird there because it's not the night, it's LOD. In the couch, we changed from the night to LOD, okay? But it doesn't make sense the couch to be LOD because it's not gonna move. There is no deformity in the mesh and there is no opacity map. So let's remove the LOD that we did to learn how to apply it. Okay, let's put known 1 here. Let's put 1 and apply it. While it's processing here, I'm gonna get back here to the key house, and here in arranging 4, as there is no nanite here, it doesn't exist here, this technology on arranging 4. So everything here has LOD because everything has to be optimized. For example, in vegetation here, in origin 5 is gonna be LOD because nanite doesn't give support for deformity in the mesh. And materials with opacity map, like in this case with the trees. Okay, for example, the leaves of the trees, they have opacity maps. Look at this, the leaves of the trees, they have opacity. Okay, opacity map. Okay, let's see, let's enable the night and apply it. Okay, cool. The little bird here as well. Let's remove the LOD. Let's put, oops, let's put known here. 1, apply it. Okay, 1 LOD only without any group. Okay, there's no way to customize here. Okay, let's see and apply it. Okay, you see that? The night clusters, look, the little bird and the couch, they are nanites now, and also the gravels. Okay, as they are instances. Okay, like the others, they are as well. Cool. Yeah, Let's get back there. Perfect. Okay, so take this file of piano house and try to transform into in your project everything into nanite, okay? Or try to transform everything in your project into LOD so that you can try it. You see the benefits of one of the other. Nanite has more benefits, okay, because you can have infinite repetitions of objects without having a huge impact on FPS. LOD, it reduces the polygon count of the object, but the more the amount of objects that you have in your scene, it is still computing that 1% that you left. Let's suppose the 1% is like 1000 polygons. If you have 10,000 objects, you have 1 million polygons. Your scene is gonna get really heavy, mainly when we work with vegetation. Vegetation is a problem when we work in real time because it decreases the FPS. You're gonna notice that in our project here, a lot of things are gonna be in the night because they're gonna be better, efficient, the visual results gonna be better, but some things are gonna be lost because of the limitation of of the night, like the deformity and the opacity map. So try to transform everything in LOD, practice this, and you're gonna get better. I'll see you in the next class where we're gonna talk about texture optimization. If you have any doubt, just leave in the comments or get in contact with us for the support channel or on our Facebook group. Okay, so see you.